Alrighty, let me just get a little sip going. Hello everybody, Trippy here, also go by Joey, Joe, don't call me Jojo. This is my first ever, I guess, real video, live action, recorded. Definitely gonna be doing more of these in the future, but this is my first one. Starting off with a question and answer video. I tweeted this out on May 24th. You know, got quite a bit of questions, and yeah, get to go on the road, shall we? Starting off with Miss Jenna saying, are you gonna let me be your stylist for Infinite events? Damn, Jenna. See, you're competing with APG, okay? Because APG is not only my teammate, but he is my stylist. So you're gonna have to have a word with him, but maybe I can have you guys join in with each other, you know, see how that goes. Our next question is, what's your least favorite exercise? See, this was a tough one. I've had a lot to think about with this, but for some reason, whatever reason it is, my least favorite exercise, 1,000,000%, has got to be Smith machine squat. I don't know why, but like when I do leg day, I don't usually do normal squats because my form, usually just my hip mobility in general is kind of just scuffed. I'm afraid honestly to do it like as well. So I revert to the Smith machine, but Smith machine for me, I don't know, for whatever reason, I hate doing it. It's just a pain. Every time I have to go and do it, it's not fun. So definitely the Smith machine squat. The next question is from the Halo Doctor, and he asks, how did you get so damn good at Halo, bro? Oh man, well, I gotta be honest with you. I'm a firm believer that there just is natural talent that goes into things. Like some people will just be naturally more talented than you are. Whether it's Halo, whether it's soccer, baseball, doesn't matter what it is. Any sport. And if like just the more naturally talented you are, the more things just come easy. But I saw I had like natural talent when I was like 13, 14 years old back in Halo 3. I knew I was pretty good, but I kept playing. I kept grinding so hard. Like I put all my time back in when I was a kid. I swear, like 10 hours every day. That was even sometimes on school days. Like I put so much time into Halo growing up. And yeah, man, I think it just comes down to like to the 10,000 hour rule. Like if you really want to be good at something, like you got to put time in. And I'm a firm believer of that. Consistent practice. And another thing I would say too is not only consistent practice every day, but like it's got to be quality practice, right? Like if you're getting on just to get on and just BS and just do whatever, like that's fine. Don't expect to like get better at the video game. But if you're getting on with the purpose to get better and you're playing with people who have that same drive as you, you're gonna get better. Like 1,000,000%. I'm a firm believer of that. All right, the next question by a man named Zach Buckingham. He says, which Halo 3 team was your favorite Halo 3 event / tournament? God, this is a good question. Not gonna lie. So back in like 2009, like 2008, like around that time, when I had first gotten my 360. I don't know if you guys remember this, any of you guys who used to have a 360 who was a fan of MLG back then. But the Xbox store back then had like the MLG Halo 3 VODs.
In 2006, MLG worked out a deal with the USA Network to broadcast MLG tournaments on TV, and episodes were later available on Xbox Live.
But like they had a mini recap of like the whole event, and you could pay for them. I forgot how much they were, but most of the events were like, the videos were like 45 minutes long, pretty much just giving you a whole recap. It was Sundance, or it was DMAC, I think, doing it, and a couple other casters. Puckett was there. But pretty much giving a recap of the whole event in like a 45-minute clip, so that they'd show you stuff from, you know, Raleigh 2009, and a bunch of other events. And I was such a nerd back then. I was such a Halo fan that I bought all of them, like on the Xbox store. I legit bought all of them. There were some nights I would just sit up and I'd just sit on my couch, grab a couple popsicles, and just watch the events. Like that's how much of a Halo fan I was. Like a lot of people don't know that. Like I'm a professional Halo player now, but I will always have that Halo casual, just like that fan in me that just loves Halo for what it is. And so yeah, going off on that tangent, my favorite Halo 3 team, towards the end of it, I mean, definitely was probably, I mean, I was always a straight ripping fan. Like who wasn't a straight ripping fan growing up? Especially their montage. I know everyone here has seen that montage. There's no way you haven't. But straight ripping was one of them. But then towards the end of Halo 3, I definitely got to be Final Boss. That logo in general, Ogre 2, Pistola. Trying to be as non-biased as possible because Pistola is my teammate now. Definitely final boss with the run they had, placing, I mean, when Ola had gotten dropped for TOTS on TD towards the end of the season, and then getting picked up by FB, placing second their first event, and then 3 back-to-back-to-back wins to end Halo 3. I mean, that's just ridiculous. That was definitely the team I was always watching as a kid. And yeah, that's my favorite Halo 3 team. Okay, the next question comes from Mr. Sta. And he says, what has been the biggest benefits, or so pretty much what are the biggest benefits from your fitness journey? So for those of you who don't know, if you've known me from the Halo scene, I used to be a pretty big guy back in like 2017. So I pretty much had a problem with weight growing up. I was at my biggest when I was in 8th grade. I weighed 250 pounds pretty much that summer of 8th grade. So I was like, how old was I? I was like 13, maybe 14 years old, weighing 250. And that summer, I made it a goal of mine to lose 80 pounds, which I did. So going into my freshman year of high school, I was weighing 180, which was like a big thing for me. Like, that was huge. But then after high school, graduating, going into college, I ended up gaining some of that, pretty much most of it back. So 2016 going into 2017, I weighed 250 again. Like, in going into events, like my first event ever was Halo 5, the first Vegas. I forgot what the exact event was, but Halo 5 first Vegas was my first event I ever went to, but it was probably back at my most heaviest again. I weighed 250 again, so I've had to lose 80 pounds twice. And benefits, man, just it's easily the greatest thing I've ever done. Not only just mentally, but physically. Like, it's almost turned into like a drug at this point, where like when I wake up, I legit have that feeling of just wanting to work out and wanting to go to the gym and wanting to do something active in the day. I'd say another benefit too is just like, I don't know about for any of you guys watching or if you guys have ever been overweight or anything, but gaming for me when I was overweight for long periods of time was very, very just uncomfortable for me. Like sitting over like this, like legit sitting over like this and trying super, super hard when you got flabs on flabs is just the most uncomfortable thing ever. My longevity, like gaming, like healthier, is just so much better. It makes my quality of practice better. I'm not really thinking of myself when I'm gaming. I'm just constantly focusing on the game. Because like when I was that big, like it's kind of hard sometimes not to just think like, damn, like what am I feeling right now? Like what are those chubby chubs? Like what am I feeling? You know? So yeah, man. It's better. It's better in all aspects. Better in all aspects, man. It's the greatest thing I ever did. So it'll not only improve your gameplay, in my opinion, but it just improves all your aspects of life, just everything. Mentally, physically, gives you more confidence, just everything. Okay, so the next question is from a guy named Xander Devers Jr. at AGC_Nova. And he says, how did you get started in competitive Halo? So, great question. I'll give 2 answers to this on how I even got into Halo, and then the second part of how I started competing. My neighbors down the street, they were like, this was in like 2008, but my neighbors down the street were 16, 17-year-old kids back in 2008. At the time, Halo 3 had just came out. So I would get babysat. I was like 10. I was really young, but I'd get babysat. I'd go down there. They had an original Xbox for me. So they were brothers, so they had 2 Xboxes for themselves to play on. And one of them would let me play Halo 1 campaign, just to let me play. And you know, as a kid, playing Halo 1 campaign, easily the most like, it's just the best thing as a kid. Like playing campaign when you're just a fan of Halo and you love it is the greatest thing ever. While they were playing Halo 2 Xbox Live in their living room. So it was like pretty much the easiest like way to babysit a kid. Just give him an Xbox One, or just give him an Xbox, original Xbox, and let him play Halo 1. And that's pretty much what they did for me for multiple weeks for a long time. And that's pretty much how I got into Halo. And funny story, like after that, I had ended up buying that Xbox from him for like $80, and he was selling me the Xbox controllers for like $10. So I ended up getting an Xbox with the original Xbox controller and Halo 1 and Halo 2 for super, super cheap. And that's pretty much how I started getting into Halo. I was like 10, 11 years old getting into it. And then for the second part of the question, how did I get competing into Halo 5? Or just how did I start competing in Halo? I mean, I've pretty much always been competitive. Like even back when I was like 13, 14 years old, 12. I got my first 50 in Halo 3 team doubles. I was a doubles kid back then. Just radar. I still played MLG, but strictly just mostly dubs and Slayer and stuff like that. I got my 50 when I was like 12, 13, and I was playing pretty much at the high level. Every time I got on, I was playing just to try super hard. So I've always been super, super competitive, but I never ever really took it to that next step. And I did that pretty much for years until Halo 5 came out, and then that's where I started to get into like game battles. Kind of got my name out there a little more. H2A was like the first Halo where I got my name out there in a way, because I used to play 2v2s with Shotzi on the PGO ladder when I was like 17. Shotzi was like 13 at the time, and that's when we grinded Halo H2A2s together. And that's where I kind of got into like the scene of like some of the pros being like, oh, who are these guys? Like, oh, who are these guys? They're pretty good. And so that's pretty much where I got into it a little bit more so. And then Halo 5 is when I got into game battles at the beginning, and I won a ton of online tournaments, like a ton for 2v2s, 4v4s, SWAT, just all the game battles tournaments they had back in the day. I ended up getting like 55 like golds for Halo 5. Overall record was like 410 and 8. Like I was a nerd. And then funny enough, Renegade JW, who you guys all know, he's on Cloud9 Halo now. I met Renegade JW in game battles when before we even competed. Like I've known Renegade since the beginning. He's the one pretty much who got me into competitive. If it weren't for Renegade, like I wouldn't be competing. One day he messaged me, he's like, yo dude, like let's play in this AM tournament. Like let's play. He's like, bro, like we're good, like we can do it. And he convinced me. So my first ever top AM team was me, it's Catastrophe, if any of you guys know, back in the day, like 2017, 2016, I forgot when. But it was me, Renegade, Brainstorm, and Musa. And funny story, we ended up joining that tournament. The first tournament I'd ever been on with the team. It was an AM tournament, but still. And we ended up winning. So we ended up winning the tournament, and then that's kind of where my competitive career started in a way. We ended up winning that, and I was like, damn, like I'm not that bad. Like maybe I can make something out of this. And then I go to my first event ever with Saiyan, Bomex, and Tire Iron, and we placed top 12 at Las Vegas, my first ever event. And I made finals of that FFA as well. So that was pretty cool, pretty memorable for me. Then after that, I got picked up on a pro team, and then it's been uphill ever since in the best way possible. Just been super, super grateful for it. But yeah, that's how kind of like my younger stages of competitive Halos began, and then my older, and like how that started. So yeah. Our next question is by Andres G at El Drastique. And he says, are you excited to compete again under Envy? Bro, I am super excited to play under Envy again. The last time I was under Envy was the 2018 season with me, Boo Pistola, and Saiyan. And we pretty much placed top 3 that whole season, so we placed really, really well. Ended up not getting a chip, but that's something I want to change, and I'm going to make a goal now that I'm on Envy again, is to bring home a championship and many others. That is the goal. That's the only goal. And I'm super excited. Go. All right, the next question is from Ben Kyle at BennyKyle11, and he says, do you think Infinite will have a new competitive game type? It's a great question. I don't know. After watching the E3 reveal and after seeing a bunch of gameplay, we know Strongholds is coming back. We know Capture the Flag is a thing. And we know that Slayer, it's been in Halo forever, so we probably know those are pretty much the 3 confirmed ones right now. Slayer, Strongholds, Capture the Flag. I don't really know what else they could add. I guess we won't know that until we have a beta, or they just release something in the future. But for now, those are the 3 Those are the 3 right now that I see being in competitive for now. All right, next question is by Mr. Glass at Savic13, and he says, who is your main inspiration that got you into Halo? Was there a person you looked up to? This is a good question, because back in the day, I was such a Halo fan. I was such a Halo fan, I would even watch the Dr. Pepper Ultimate Gaming House videos, if you guys remember back in the day. I used to even watch those. But, I mean, there was a couple people, not gonna lie, trying to be as non-biased as possible, but I got your Pistola. Like, he was easily one of the youngest people out on stage back then, and just dominating, just absolutely dominating at his craft. He was definitely one of the people I looked up to. Same with Snipe Down. Like, Snipe Down was so heavily known back then. Seeing those guys compete on LAN and just that time period, yeah, dude, I got your Pistola, Snipe Down, pretty much all those guys just got me super motivated to just grind Halo, and got me in that mindset of, damn, like, I wonder what it would be like if I could like do what they're doing, All right, the next question comes from Frank at FDO, my boy. He says, was there ever a point in your Halo career, is there ever a point in your career that you almost walked away from Halo? No, I wouldn't say so. I feel like ever since I started competing, it's kind of just been like an upward trajectory like the whole time. Towards the start of my career, first event I ever placed top 12, and then after that I placed top 8 a few times, and then after that I got into the top 6 range. Then after I placed top 6, that was my best placing. I ended up getting on Envy, and then I ended up placing top 3 like that whole season, and then I got on a better team, I ended up forming with Snipe Down on Team Reciprocity. So us again, there's Ola, Saiyan, Snipe Down, and myself. Ended up placing top 6. We got upset. That was a really underperforming performance from us. And then the next event we got 3rd, and then the last event in Halo 5 we got 2nd. So other than that top 6, it's pretty much been like an upward trajectory for me. After that, Halo 3 came around, but Halo 3, I mean, Halo 3 was whatever. I was still placing okay. Top 8, top 6. Pretty much just all of us waiting for a new Halo. But then Anaheim came out on PC, and then that's where I placed 2nd again. So I still see myself in a really good spot for Halo, and I still think I'm only getting better. Like, I still am learning so much as a player, and I don't see myself stopping anytime soon. I think once Infinite comes out, I'm definitely going to be in my prime, even more so, putting more time than I ever did before. And I'm looking forward to seeing what we can do, because I know putting just full effort into it, I'm not going to be done anytime soon. So that's it. That's I think those are the questions. Yeah, I think those are all the questions. Appreciate everyone watching the video. Pretty decently long-sized video for my first ever Q&A. Gonna have to do a separate video on my Infinite wish list, which I'm going to be making soon, in terms of like casual, competitive, just what I want Infinite to be like from a pro player's perspective. So yeah, be on the lookout for that. Like I said, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed watching the video. Be sure to follow me on Twitter for Halo content. Just post about anything on there, at Trippy, just right above me right here. Be sure to follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/Trippy, TRIPPPEY. I'm pretty much stream Halo there all the time, so be sure to check me out. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.